Before we begin, I want to say thank you for being here, and thank you for your patience. I've been away for a little while, but the support on the last video was genuinely appreciated. Seeing the likes, the comments, and the new subscribers made it clear that this channel is heading in the right direction. I'm back now, and today's video continues exactly where we left off. It's one of the most serious threats livestock has ever faced. A single wolf is dangerous, fast, intelligent, ruthless when it needs to be. But a wolf pack has something else entirely. That's coordination, strategy, a form of communication so precise it's almost invisible. They don't attack blindly. Wolves test their prey long before they strike. They observe patterns, study reactions, and probe for hesitation. If they see even a flicker of fear, they remember it. For centuries, shepherds knew this truth. A fence couldn't deter such cunning. A rifle couldn't stay awake through the night. The only answer came from nature itself. Dogs bred not to chase the wolf, but to stare it down. Not bred to kill. Bred to make the wolf turn away. Wolves rarely hunt alone. Their strength isn't just teeth or muscle, it's strategy. A wolf pack can operate with a patience that human eyes often mistake for calm. They move like ghosts at the edge of vision, closing in gradually until the target doesn't realize it's surrounded. They don't rush, they isolate. They find the weak linker limping away, a distracted lamb, a shepherd's momentary absence, and they exploit it. Every movement is calculated, every howl part of a language shared only among them. Livestock, for a wolf, is predictable prey. It doesn't escape. It doesn't fight. It's a reward, too easy to ignore. The only thing wolves respect, the only thing they consistently avoid, is resistance. Something that looks back at them with the same focused calm. Something alive, confident, and territorial, like a true guardian dog. Humans, of course, tried to outthink wolves. Tall fences cut the horizon. Traps lined the perimeter. Shepherds carried rifles and stayed awake longer than they should. But wolves adapted faster every year. A fence can be jumped or dug under. A rifle can't fire through darkness or fog. Wolves changed their timing, attacking on moonless nights when distant barking got muffled by wind. They learned human habits as well as we learned theirs. What wolves didn't understand was fear, not ours, anyway. The one thing that stopped them wasn't a tool or a trick. It was another predator, a creature whose body language spoke the same primal dialect. Shepherds needed guardians, not built by men, but born from instinct. A four-legged deterrent that made wolves stop, think, and choose not to fight. Guardian dogs don't just watch the flock, they live with it. They grow up among the sheep and goats, eating, sleeping, and patrolling beside them. The flock becomes their family, and that bond defines every decision they make. A real guardian can't wait for human instruction. It must think independently, recognize danger before it's visible, and decide whether to hold, display, or charge. Too much aggression, and it risks scattering the flock. Too little, and the wolves return. When faced with predators, these dogs don't run. They stand square, tails level, bodies calm. Every breath, every step communicates confidence. Fearlessness, not rage, is their defining trait. 'Cause a guardian's job isn't to defeat wolves through violence, but to make wolves question whether violence is worth the danger. In the heart of Turkey's Sivas region, where open plains stretch endlessly into the wind, the Kangal was born. Bred over centuries by shepherds who faced wolves so often that cowardice simply wasn't an option. The Kangal works alone for most of its life, no fences, no constant human supervision. It learns to trust its senses, patrolling quietly through the night. A twitch of an ear in the distance, a breeze carrying a foreign scent, that's all it needs to know. Danger is near. When the moment comes, the Kangal rarely attacks first. It warns, a deep bark that rolls across the landscape like thunder. a declaration that this space is not free for the taking. If the wolves advance anyway, the Kangal waits. It measures distance, it controls angles. And when confrontation becomes inevitable, it moves with a speed few expect from a dog that size. Wolves read body language better than most animals on earth. Posture tells them everything. When they see a Kangal, tall, still, unflinching, ears forward, and gaze unwavering, they understand immediately what they're looking at. It's not prey, it's not fleeing, it's evaluating them the same way they're evaluating it. Wolves often circle to test confidence. A Kangal doesn't follow the circle, stands like a pillar, rotating slowly, never breaking eye contact. That simple lack of movement changes everything. For wolves, motion often signals uncertainty. A stillness communicates strength. Sometimes that silent exchange lasts minutes. Sometimes it decides the outcome without a single bite. Many wolf packs retreat, sensing the cost before the first growl ever begins. Against multiple wolves, the Kangal isn't reckless, right? It reads their formation. Wolves follow leadership, their confidence flowing from the lead wolf's will. The Kangal focuses there. By confronting the alpha, it disturbs the pack's mental order. It lunges quickly, biting only as a last resort to scatter the front line, then retreats to regroup near the flock. It doesn't need to fight them all. It needs to break their unity. Endurance defines the Kangal. It's fast enough to reposition, tough enough to endure bites, and wise enough to choose battles. Far to the north, among the snow-covered ridges of the Caucasus Mountains, another guardian evolved, the Caucasian Shepherd, massive, broad, wrapped in a mantle of thick fur that turns teeth and claws into wasted effort. Unlike the agile Kangal, this dog doesn't patrol vast plains. Its domain is the mountain pass, the enclosure gate, the home pen. In those close quarters, size and intimidation win the day. When a Caucasian Shepherd growls, the sound isn't just a warning, it's a geographic statement. This place is taken. Its temperament reflects its environment. Sparse resources, harsh winters, endless predators. Over generations, shepherds bred dogs that wouldn't yield even to bears. The result? A living wall. Not built to chase or maneuver, but to deter through sheer presence. When wolves first see a Caucasian Shepherd, most hesitate. Kate's silhouette looks unnatural for a domestic animal too large, too calm, too confident. Wolves test by circling, sometimes even feigning forward, gauging how much effort it would take to bring it down. But the Caucasian rarely flinches. It puffs, its mane like fur, stands broad and unbothered. That thick coat makes biting almost useless. Wolves can't lock onto soft tissue easily. So they pace, they sniff, they weigh the odds, and slowly, understanding dawns. For wolves, it's simple math. Energy spent versus food gained. A fight with this creature could mean injury or death. Meanwhile, sheep on another hillside stand unprotected. So they move on. Every guardian breed masters a different philosophy of defense. The Kangal controls space. The Caucasian Shepherd controls territory. One dominates through movement, ever-shifting, watchful, untiring. The other dominates through immovability, claiming an area so holy that predators internalize its boundaries. Both methods accomplish the same thing. They dismantle a wolf pack's plan before it begins, forcing apex predators into hesitation. In nature, hesitation is defeat. Across the steppes of Central Asia, shepherds shaped a more versatile defender, the Central Asian Shepherd, or Alibi, where terrain shifts between open grasslands and rocky ravines. This breed developed above worlds. It carries the Kangal's endurance, but pairs it with the Caucasian's resilience. With a lower center of gravity and immense stamina, it maneuvers well, but also digs in when needed. These dogs travel with nomadic herders, protecting herds that move across seasons, meeting wolves, snow, and heat in equal measure. Wolves across the region recognize them by scent and shape, and often don't bother testing their resolve. So why do wolves rarely win? They aren't foolish monsters. They calculate constantly because in their world, survival depends on cost. An injury, especially in winter, is a death sentence. That's why guardian dogs shift the entire equation. They don't just represent danger, they represent uncertainty. Wolves might outnumber them, but they understand the price of conflict. So, when wolves face true livestock guardians, they almost always retreat. Not because they were beaten, but because they decided the challenge wasn't worth dying for. It's logic, not fear. Movie fights between dogs and wolves look brutal and deadly, but reality is quieter. Actual encounters are psychological wars. A few wolves appear at the boundary of a flock. The guardians notice first. They stand still, tails lifted slightly, heads high. Minutes pass. The wolves pace, testing resolve. Occasionally, a low growl, a step forward, a counter step back. Sometimes these standoffs last for hours. Then, with no clear signal, the wolves fade back into the trees. No bloodshed. The mission fails. The flock sleeps on. Popular stories often glorify these dogs as wild fighters, but that's a myth. True guardian breeds don't seek conflict. Tier battles are fought through posture and presence. Another myth: bigger always means better. In truth, control, confidence, and experience matter more. Aggression isn't the goal. Calm dominance is. So, which dog is best against a pack? The environment decides. In vast, open plains, the Kangal dominates. In high, rugged mountains, the Caucasian Shepherd rules. And across shifting terrain, the Central Asian Shepherd adapts best. There's no universal winner, only regional masters. Wolves are apex tacticians, but against the guardian breeds, their intelligence turns inward. They analyze. They hesitate. They remember. Kangals, Caucasians, and Central Asians counter wolves not with rage, but with psychology. They break the pack's confidence before the first bite ever lands. They don't need to kill, they just need to convince. And once the pack doubts, the war is already won. That's what makes them legendary. It's not brutality, but restraint, forged by centuries of coexistence. Their legacy isn't written in scars or trophies. It's written in the quiet of untouched flocks at sunrise. Because, in the wild, victory isn't always about the fight you win. Sometimes, it's about the fight you never have to face. Kangal, Caucasian, Central Asian, different lands, different methods. One purpose: to hold the line. Thank you for watching and for supporting this channel. If you enjoyed this story, consider leaving a like, sharing it with others, and subscribing for more explorations into the wild world of nature, history, and survival. Until next time, stay curious, stay respectful, and never stop learning from the wild.